Hi everyone, we are Mike and Brenda Baker, and today our title is How to Stay United Amidst the Coronavirus Crisis.
Say that 5 times fast. So, how to stay united amidst the coronavirus crisis. Now, a lot of states are already starting to open up a little bit. However, that doesn't mean that the whole coronavirus thing is done. All right, you're already in crisis mode. So, or a lot of places, a lot of people are still in crisis mode. And so we want to talk about the new normal.
Yeah, the new normal is really an important topic because it can make or break your remarriage. I'm sure that you've had some difficulty deciding whether or not the stepkids should go back and forth with the coronavirus issue. I'm sure that there's been heightened issues that have come up during this quarantine, and frankly, it's very possible that things are not going to go back to what they were before this. This has been a very big change for a pretty long period of time for a lot of you, and so just understand that you really have to be patient and wait for things to kind of level out a little.
It's just like 9/11. I mean, now without being all conspiracy theory or anything, because I know there's going to be a certain contingent of you that are like, oh, they're coming for us. And then there's going to be another contingent that's like, no, we need to all stay inside. Yeah. So 9/11, let's talk about the facts. The facts are that we never returned to a pre-9/11 America after 9/11. Okay, so they put all of these things in place, all of these securities, all, going after the terrorists and everything. We never returned to what it was before. So the new normal, you're going to have to start figuring out, we're going to have to start figuring out, what does it look like for your family? Because we will more than likely not return to pre-coronavirus America. And really, I'm not saying anything specifically right this second, but that's going to look different for all of you.
Now, we're not trying to be Debbie Downers here, but the facts are the facts. Like Mike was talking about with 9/11, how many of you can remember going through TSA prior to 9/11 and how it is even now? Well, not now, but before the coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's going to change some. Probably your kids and stepkids are really starting to feel some tension. And so we have some really good tips for you in this to help you to kind of try to deal with this new normal and move forward as quickly as you can.
Which brings us into number 2. Okay, so the first being the new normal. Number 2, deep division in the family. Now, I would say during 9/11, there was a lot of banter back and forth between the two sides. Oh, it's conspiracy. Oh, no, it's not a conspiracy. I have seen a tremendous amount more so now than 9/11 even, as far as division goes. And I've seen serious division within families. And so, I mean, let's be honest, there's already enough in your remarriage and with your stepkids and your kids and your ex-spouse and your ex-in-laws. I mean, there's already enough reasons there for division. You don't need to drive this wedge as well. And so keep in mind that it's okay for your spouse to have an opinion contrary to your own. And it's also fine that you guys are on the same page with things. But really what it needs to come down to is what is a moot point and what is not a moot point. And what do I mean by that? When it comes to taking care of the kids, you've had them for a while. Yeah, you guys are probably all ready to, beat each other. But but it doesn't change the fact that you still have responsibilities, those kids, and those kids should still have responsibilities around the house. So whether it was a manufactured virus or totally by accident, doesn't change the care that you need to give your family.
And it also doesn't matter if your ex chooses to wear a mask or not wear a mask, or your spouse wants to vaccinate or not vaccinate. Yeah. That is not the point.
Yeah.
So in all of these changes that are happening, in all of these different opinions that you might have differing views, there's been many times that Mike and I have had some disagreements, but also opposite sides of the issues. And what we have learned is that the more we can choose to come together and understand each other's perspective, actually hear to hear, not to react or to reply, the better we do as a couple. So that's our strong suggestion to you. We're not like a lot of these people that write books on blended families and don't actually have a blended family. We actually have lived it.
Yeah.
So we really highly encourage you to listen to what we're saying, because we actually know what we're talking about. We're not some doctor that just got all their information from a book in school. We actually know how hard it is to blend families. So there you go.
So anyway,
Kind of a
so
soapbox.
obviously deep division in your family, you just need to nix that right away. You can be divided on subjects on your own time. Okay, this doesn't need to, because if you stop and think about it, deep division in the family, whether the virus was manufactured or not, does not make a difference as to whether it's time for you to make dinner or whether it's time for your kid to go clean their room. Doesn't make a difference, okay? But moving on to that, on to number 3, love is not political.
Exactly. So when you talk about love not being political, it doesn't matter, like I was saying before, it doesn't matter whether it's your conviction of whatever or your preference of whatever. You absolutely need to work toward coming together on the things that you come together on and letting that be your focus. Would you disagree or have something to say to
Well,
that?
convictions are absolutely important, and your kids need to know that you have convictions. And the difference between a conviction and a preference is, for instance, and I think we've talked about this on other videos, is if you believe that you shouldn't work on the Sabbath day, for instance, and you refuse to work at a job that says you have to work that day, that's conviction. That's something you're willing to make the sacrifice to do. Now, if you have to work on Sunday or Saturday, depending on when you think the Sabbath is, and you're like, man, I really wish I didn't have to work today, that's preference, okay? And just remember, your kids are watching you. So conviction and preference is important to know the difference. But once again, you can't let your convictions, like I said, love is not political. Yes, you're upset. Yes, you've got an opinion. Yes, these Facebook posts are just irritating you to no end, and you want everybody to just shut up and stop. But it doesn't make a difference, because you still have responsibilities within the house, and you're still a family. You are the same family before or after the coronavirus that you were before the coronavirus. That hasn't changed.
Exactly. And we're going to touch more on that in a minute here. You need to remember that although you might have differences with your spouse, although quarantine maybe has really stretched your marriage some, because I'm sure it can do that.
A lot.
Yeah. We've done well, but we don't have kids anymore. They're all gone. We're empty nesters now. So, quarantine for us has been very, in a lot of ways it's been fun. Not that we're happy about anyone who's suffering or whatnot, but we've had a great time together. So for us, it's been easy. But just remember that it's not enough to end your marriage. Let things calm down some and really work toward those things that bring you together.
Yeah, keep in mind the fact that the things, when you guys are cooped up together like this, and let me just say that, our quarantine is going well. I am an essential worker. Okay, yeah. So no, I haven't been here, but when I am off, I had to be here. So quarantine applied to me then. So with that, you guys are in close quarters, and the habits that only irritate you a little bit are probably driving you through the roof right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have heard over the years some of the most, lame and pathetic excuses for leaving a spouse. Well, they never clean up their laundry. Okay, look. You don't have enough going on unless you are in an abuse situation, and we're not talking about that here. We're talking about pettiness, okay? Just because you don't like it, that is not enough to end the marriage. Get over yourself.
Right. Yeah. And so just keep those small things small. The next point that we really want to drive home with you is social media and the keyboard warrior doesn't need to be who you identify with. It's really easy to sit behind a computer for many people. I almost coughed. And blast those around them. Don't get into those social media debates. They will seriously just raise your blood pressure, and what good does it do? Because you're not going to agree with them anyways. I'm on Pinterest, and I have gotten a huge amount of hate, and it's just people that are just, I don't know if they're just spamming or what, but they've been hateful comments and hard to read because nobody wants to hear these bad things and have people just be so hateful. And so don't treat your spouse like that. Just move forward. Don't let the things that are happening on social media affect how your attitude is with your spouse, because it's really easy to get off of Facebook or whatever and go, and bite your spouse's head off.
All day. You'll do that all day. You'll rant, not you.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't usually do that.
No. When you get on Facebook or you get on social media, I mean, let's be honest, keyboard warriors will not admit they're keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
So you may very well be one, because right now you're saying, well, I'm not a keyboard warrior. It must
Shame
be
on
you.
you if you are.
So the whole point is look, once your blood pressure's up, you're going to rant all day. Mm-hmm. Now, venting occasionally is not a bad thing, okay? Yeah. But your kids don't want to hear it. Your spouse doesn't want to hear it. Say your piece. If you really have something to say your piece, move on, and completely change your attitude after that. Don't be a grump because you're irritated about that one thing for the rest of the day, because social media, we all know it kicks at those endorphins, but at this point it's going to be kicking something else, and it's just going to cause division, and it's going to cause problems, and just not a very pleasant household.
And the bad hormone, it's not going to serve you well at all. So in all the things that happen that have happened or will happen, just try as best as you can to be pragmatic about the whole thing and just take it as it comes and try to be as positive and careful as you can be, both on social media and off with your family.
That's it.
All right, so that's all that's all for today. And if you've been with us very long, you're noticing the cabinets right here. I'm painting. That was my project for quarantine. I'm almost done, so hopefully next time you'll be able to see them. Anyways, all right, that's all for today, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye.